Number 10. Sniffer. The Sniffer sounds super fascinating to me. It was the mob to win the Minecraft Live 2022 mob community vote to be added into the game, and so it will appear at some point in this version. The Sniffer was described as being an ancient mob, long thought of as extinct, which already sounds super interesting to me. It also kind of reminds me of Appa, the sky bison, the animal companion of Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I think are good vibes. I do love Appa personally. And Appa was also an ancient creature long thought of as extinct, so lots of parallels here. In order for you to revive the Sniffer and bring it back to life in the game, you'll need to find their egg somewhere deep below the earth, either underground or underwater. Once hatched, the Sniffer's key function is to sniff around and seek out various plants and seeds, which can then help you collect. It's also been implied that the Sniffer may even be able to help discover completely new plants, which will also likely be added to the game along with it. And friends, before we head on to this next point, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Gaming, why not show us you love us by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, help us out. Number 9. Bamboo. With the new update also comes new building materials, such as bamboo. As we know, you'll be able to make a ton of new and exciting things with your bamboo, such as bamboo buildings and homes, doors, stairs, fences, and of course slabs and blocks. Bamboo is one of my favorite building materials in the world of Animal Crossing to use on my island in New Horizons. It just really has a great tropical feel. So if that's what you are looking to create on your server in Minecraft, this might be the best newest building material for you. While we still aren't completely sure of the overall theme for this update yet, it is awesome to see more elements being added to the game that allow players to add even more detail and more expression to their builds in the future. Number 8. Rafts. Bamboo won't just be a buildable material in the game, you'll also be able to build stuff with it, namely boats, or rather more like rafts. But still pretty cool stuff. I always love when we get something new to build with. New material can give the places you are building just a whole new sense of style as well, which I like. In Minecraft 1.20, you'll be able to row down the stream or across the ocean on your little bamboo raft. I feel like you can create some real deserted island or jungle paradise vibes with these new little boats. If you're wondering how different the raft is from other boats, mostly it's a style and building material change, so don't worry, you'll still be able to take your loot with you on your journey, as the option to attach a chest to the raft will also still be possible. Number 7. The End. Some have speculated the Minecraft 1.20 update will focus on the end dimension. The end dimension in Minecraft is a space-like realm that is made up of various separate islands that are made out of end stone. The end also gets its name from the fact that it is where you go to, end the game, with the Ender Dragon spawning there upon your first arrival. It is also the plane where Endermen and Shulkers originate. The reason why some think that the end will be the focus of 1.20 has to do with the fact that Minecraft Dungeons got an update in the past year that also focused on the end. Although, from what we're seeing from the materials, I'm not sure if we're gonna go that way, but I would not be surprised if they were like, you're gonna get some jungle stuff and some desert stuff and also the end. Number 6. Microbiomes. Once again, this is a speculation surrounding what we know, but it is based on the idea that this 1.20 update could see a lot of changes focused around the end. Although, even if it's not around the end and it's a different area of the game, I think this could still be quite relevant. If this is true, then we could see a whole series of microbiomes introduced as the end is fleshed out and more developed in the game, or as other areas are fleshed out and more developed. Some have even surmised that the Better End, which is a mod for Minecraft, could serve as inspiration for how Mojang could better improve this area and environment of the game. I'm not sure if this is where the 1.20 update could be headed, but I do think that this would be a cool direction for it to head in. I mean, the end hasn't been touched for a long time, and it feels kind of underdeveloped in comparison to other parts of the game, so it would be cool to see an update happen there. Number 5. Chiseled bookshelves. This is actually something that I think I'm the most excited about, even though it doesn't sound that exciting at all. But to me, I'm here for the chiseled bookshelves. Bookshelves that actually hold your books. It sounds crazy, but it's finally here! We are getting chiseled bookshelves with the Minecraft 1.20 update, and a lot of people are excited about this attention to detail. It feels weird to be so excited about a functional item existing in the world of Minecraft. I mean, for years we've kind of had bookshelves, but you've never been able to actually store anything on them. They were more for decoration. I guess this is what adulting feels like, getting excited about bookshelves you can actually use, though of course still in a video game. At least we can hold on to that element of our youth. This is something that is like an adult item, but it's still in a video game. These chiseled bookshelves allow a player to store up to 6 books or quills at a time. You can also combine your chiseled bookshelf with a redstone comparator, which allows you to see which book was last interacted with on your shelf. Fancy. I can't even do that with any of my bookshelves in real life. Number 4. Hanging signs. Have you ever wanted to create a different kind of sign in a game? Well, fear not. The 1.20 Minecraft update has heard you. For this update, we'll be getting access to hanging signs, or at least the ability to craft said signs. These signs can be crafted in the new update out of stripped logs and chains. You won't just have access to one option when it comes to hanging signs either, but instead there will be three different variations for players to choose from. Number 3. Camels. The interesting thing about Minecraft is a lot of the animals we've seen in it are typically pretty closely associated with humans. I guess not that camels aren't, but they are definitely not the most common animals you think of to associate with, humanity in North America, at least. When it comes to animals that humans often, utilize for whatever, riding the animal or, eating the animal or any of those things. Despite odd animals like mushrooms, which are basically like mushroom covered cows, or some of the aquatic, nether, or jungle creatures, for the most part many animals in Minecraft are just pretty typical animals. You have cats, bees, horses, pigs, sheep, turtles, but camels? Never! That's been crazy talk for a long time. Well, guess what? That's about to change with Minecraft version 1.20, and the camels aren't just going to be there for you to watch and interact with as normal. Oh no. Camels are going to be like another few tameable animals in the game. Number 2. Camels that you can ride! Which I love. I love the idea that we can tandem ride a camel. That sounds so fun. That's right, camels, like horses, donkeys, and mules, post-taming will be rideable. I assume they will have to be tamed, but they will also allow you to ride with a friend, and even jump over holes and ravines while riding, which is pretty impressive. It's likely that they won't be as fast as horses though. I mean, even in nature, horses are known for being able to consistently go pretty fast, about like 88 kilometers an hour, whereas camels can usually only speed up in quick bursts, and even then they're slower than horses, generally topping out around like 65 kilometers an hour, and that's not a speed that they would probably be able to sustain for a long distance. However, to be fair to camels, donkeys are actually known for being even slower, so really donkeys should be one of the slowest animals in this game. Number 1. The slow burn. Something that seems to have become very apparent with what we know so far, and more specifically don't know so far, is that we're not going to get a bunch of content all at once this time around that dives into what this update is really about. What is the topic of this update? Whether it's about the end, the jungle, the desert, or some combo of all these things, or maybe none of these things. It seems more than likely that we will slowly be given information over time, probably in part to build hype and also to avoid backlash, like what happened with the previous update when Mojang overpromised and had to basically split up the update into 2 parts, which a lot of people were not so happy about. To be careful and also make sure that we are actually interested, they're likely going to release little bits of their plans and then kind of see what players think and maybe even adjust direction accordingly. It'll be interesting to see how or if this works for the update and how cohesive it'll end up being as a result of this new direction.
In a 10 Oasis biome, Minecraft's deserts are, well, deserted. A desert pyramid, sometimes called the Desert Temple, is a sandstone structure that's sometimes generated in deserts. You can find hidden chests with loot, and it's protected by a TNT trap. But that was first introduced in version 1.3.1. and nothing has really been added to deserts since. Like, come on. This 1.3.1 is the update that added the first version of villager trading. It also added emeralds, a better creative menu, and adventure mode. 1.3.1 was released on August 1st, 2012, and since then deserts haven't been touched. It's been over 10 years for these dry guys, alright? And while yes, the deserts are meant to be barren deserts, this update seems to be focused on the middle child of biomes. So why not add like an Oasis sub-biome for just that little extra bit of life, you know? I go to a desert to find a cactus, maybe a temple, and maybe the odd village or dungeon whose sand collapsed in on itself, and then I'm gone. The only other reason is like a large quantity of sand if you're making a giant build on an SMP. And an Oasis sub-biome like the variations of jungle could be very pleasing, even if it's like just a generated structure. That would still be something. It could also be an interesting way to introduce a place for the illusioner to naturally spawn, since you could consider an oasis to be a mirage. In at 9, Jungle Village. Villages are a fairly common occurrence in Minecraft. However, while you may find villages around in most biomes, you will never find a village in a swamp or jungle biome, even though there are textures specifically for jungle and swamp biomes for villagers. They have special clothes, even though it can never happen. Villages can't generate in these biomes unless they spawn in a biome next to a jungle or swamp. But given the addition of bamboo as a functional wood in the coming update as well, the possibility of having jungle villages could be coming. Each village type uses the wood that is found in its area. Snowy villages use spruce, plains uses oak, savanna uses acacia, desert villages use sandstone because there's no wood. You get the idea. So, with bamboo being a proper block this time around, there is now another type of wood that jungle villages can use that isn't as goddamn fugly as normal jungle wood planks. Jungle wood literally looks rotten, okay? So, if it was to generate, it would probably be in the sparse jungle biome, or maybe in a bamboo forest biome or something similar. A biome that isn't actually like packed to the brim with trees, but it's a possibility that I would enjoy. Or unless they want to make like one of the like an Ewok village for villagers, that'd be fun. And also, did you know that only 22% of people who watch these videos are actually subscribed? Yeah, that's right. You may have been watching these for a while and not even know you're not subscribed. So be sure you double check, okay? And make sure you have YouTube notifications enabled on your phone as well, so you actually get the notifications if you click the bell, which you should do, by the way. So yeah, thanks, babe. In at 8, Ancient Plants. With the Sniffer winning the mob vote of 2022, we now have the possibility of getting new plants. And not just any form of plants, specifically ancient ones. Given that the Sniffer is apparently an ancient creature, according to the video announcing the mob, although Jeb did think that it was a chicken, the Sniffer is simply an ancient mob of sorts that was thought to be extinct. They're plant lovers and they can find seeds for you by sniffing the ground, meaning that there are going to be quite a few interesting farms that we can make. And given that they said, quote, and maybe even get some new plants if the community votes for the Sniffer, and the Sniffer won, I think it's safe to say getting some new and possibly ancient plants, it has a high likelihood. Which leads to something else that could get added, but more on that in a minute. I just wanted to point out as well that given the line of will the Sniffer get to roam the earth again at the end of the video, the Sniffer would have been canon either way. This just enabled it to be brought back from extinction. So that's the implication of saying that. So there you go, Mojang. No matter what, we were getting 2 mobs. Just one of them might have been extinct. In at 7, combat tests. Now, Minecraft Bedrock Edition has never gotten a proper combat update. They got the 1.9 stuff. They got elytra, shields, tipped arrows, all that. However, they didn't actually get the mechanics that changed combat. You can still spam click and you'll end up doing the same amount of damage every hit in Bedrock, like how combat worked prior to 1.9 in Java. But what I would personally like to see is some of the combat test mechanics in the combat snapshots added to the game. Axe enchantments specific to combat is one thing in particular that I saw that I think is a great idea. The cleaving enchantment would really be cool. Weapon reach would also certainly be an interesting one, although I don't really know how that would work since technically all of the weapons are the same length. A shield indicator option that lets you know when your shield is working. Arm fatigue with arrows would be an interesting feature. It kind of ruins snipers a little bit. And an increased attack speed for axes would also be nice, but that would result in them getting nerfed as well. They'd only do half a heart more damage than their sword counterparts, which basically makes them useless unless you're fighting against someone using a shield. But I'd also personally like the 1 durability loss for axes when in combat instead of 2, because that still hasn't really been fixed. And like, while a couple of these features could be cool, as long as you don't add crouch to block in Java, or if you do add it, you don't make it enabled by default, that would be great. Thank you, I hate that. That's the worst thing about Bedrock. In at 6, Fletching Table. The Fletching Table was introduced in the 1.14 Village and Pillage update. However, it has never had any functionality beyond turning villagers into Fletchers. But, could we possibly see the Fletching Table get an actual use in 1.20? God, I hope so. The Fletching Table could be used to make more arrows than normal, because normally in a crafting table, you make 4 arrows with each recipe, so maybe with the Fletching Table you could get 6 when you use it. I don't know. It gives an added bonus to actually using it, but it doesn't really really make things overpowered, especially since you can make a skeleton farm and get infinite arrows anyway. Or maybe you can like get different kinds of arrows using the fletching table. Maybe wooden, iron, or gold arrows could be kind of cool. I don't know, just something that actually makes the fletching table useful instead of just a block for villagers. Halfway through into number 5, Vultures. Now, this isn't a confirmed feature, but in the Minecraft biome vote of 2019, we saw a new savanna concept that showcased multiple things like tumbleweeds, new cacti, and a vulture mob that, in a way, is like the evil twin to the allay. Mechanic-wise, at least, since the vulture would take items like the allay, but it wouldn't like to give it back. Vultures, since they were a desert-themed mob, could actually end up being added in 1.20, if they choose to do so. I think it would be awesome, and it would definitely fit the whole desert theme, not to mention that they could be used as ways to possibly locate structures. With a couple of tweaks, the vultures could be changed from a mob that takes items to a mob that circles above structures in desert biomes, like a desert temple, since there is rotten flesh commonly in the chests at the bottom, and vultures are scavengers. It could be a new and cool way to liven up deserts a little bit. Plus, it's a bird, and I'd like to be able to befriend them so that you can have a pet bird, okay? Because we can't tame bats, and I would really like to be a falconeer even though it's a vulture. In it for new weapons. The last time Minecraft got new weapons was 1.16. However, those weren't really technically new since you had to add the ingots into pre-made diamond weapons, but a new type of weapon could be really interesting, with a possible focus on the ancient Minecraft items. With the Sniffer being an ancient mob, possible ancient plants, and then our next number, some ancient weapons could be a really cool addition. Recently, YouTube has really been interested with the lore of Minecraft, and with what MatPat calls the ancient builders, the civilization of basically Steves that had to build all the structures that we see in the world. So possibly, these ancestors could have left some weapons that got buried and lost over time. They could be made of the same material that the end portal is made of, and I mean like the stuff that frames the eye, not the actual end stone, because an end stone sword would be kinda lame, honestly. But some cool ender themed tools that would be extremely rare would be insane and really be something to get fans talking, especially after how the last few updates were received. Kinda need that. Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Archeology. Archeology was an intended feature in the 1.17 Caves and Cliffs update that was going to allow players to find items with a copper or weathered copper brush by using it on sand, gravel, dirt, and possibly other blocks found in a new structure, the Archeology site. Probably only blocks naturally generated in this structure would be brushable. You couldn't just go around a whole desert brushing away. But possible items that could be found included diamond blocks, emerald blocks, and ceramic shards of any color. Possibly you could up this and add ancient weapons as well, and maybe the vultures could circle around these structures. The feature wasn't actually released along with any of the 1.17, 18, or 19 features, despite being one of the more interesting ideas that was announced actually. And with the theme of this update seemingly being the desert and the jungle, Archeology seems like a very possible addition. And honestly, I hope it gets added in, okay? I was disappointed to see that it was left out of both of the Caves and Cliffs parts and then the Wild update, so the ability to brush away some sand blocks in a desert update is one of the best features that I think they really could add for this, in my opinion. But what do you think? Do you want Archeology in 1.20? Let me know in the comments. But ultimately, in at number 2, Moo Bloom. Okay, here we go. On September 27, 2020, it was announced that a mob vote would take place during Minecraft Live of that year, on October 3rd at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. The Moo Bloom was one of the 3 mobs up on the vote, but it got eliminated. They would have spawned in flower forests and interacted with bees in some way, but unfortunately, it's unlikely that the buttercup flower will make it into Minecraft if the Moo Bloom didn't, right? Well, what if I told you that with the Sniffer getting added means that we might get the Moo Bloom? Mojang has said in the past that they might add mobs that weren't added in previous mob votes if they fit the theme of the update. And with the Sniffer being an ancient mob that seemingly has come back from extinction and the Sniffer's love for seeds, I think that the Moo Bloom and the buttercup flower are actually in the running. God, I hope so. Considering how the Moo Bloom wasn't added in favor of the goddamn glow squid, I think that the Justice for Moo Bloom movement needs to come back, because the glow squid is stupid. Especially when we could have made cows the gods of Minecraft able to adapt to different biomes. So, let's bring the hashtag Justice for Moo Bloom movement back, okay? Because this needs to be vindicated. I need the Moo Bloom, damn it. Even my keys are mad. And finally, in at number 1, more camels. With the upcoming camel edition, which was confirmed as it's meant to be like a 2-player horse in a sense, the possibility of camel variants is very possible. There are multiple horses with multiple different levels of speed, jump height, and health, health, so I'd assume the same thing is going to happen with camels. But not only that, I feel like they were pushing the whole 2 players can ride 1 camel thing so hard that it's going to be rarer than they made it seem. In real life, camels come with 1 or 2 humps, and the only ones that were showcased during the live had 1. I don't think it would be surprising if they added both versions and made the camels with 1 hump rarer, like donkeys with horses. And yeah, the 2 humped camels would only hold 1 person, since I mean how else is that supposed to work? And the 1 humped camels would be the only ones able to have 2 players ride it, probably why they were being showcased so much in the live. So I'm making an educated guess saying that camels will have variations on humps, speed, health, and possibly jump length, considering how they're meant to jump over ravines. But God, I hope that YouTube doesn't think I'm talking about something else, because that could get awkward. I'm talking about camel humps, YouTube, alright? It's educational. In its 10 camels. The camel edition, which was confirmed, is meant to be like a 2-player horse in a sense, with 2 players being able to ride 1 camel instead of like a 1-to-1 ratio with horses. And currently in the snapshots, there's only 1 skin version of the mob. There are, however, multiple horses, with different levels of speed, jump height, and health. And the same thing seems to be happening with camels, with different walking speeds at the very least added so far. I mean, like, they were pushing the whole 2 players can ride 1 camel thing a little hard. I feel like it's gonna be rarer than it is right now. Like, in real life, camels come with 1 or 2 humps, but that hasn't been confirmed as of yet, and the spawn eggs right now only spawn the 1-humped camels. However, it's also been shown that 1 saddle on a camel will turn into 2 seats, which doesn't really make much logical sense. In my opinion, you should need 2 saddles, but since this is a snapshot, those are subject to change, as well as any other of the features on this list. I'm hoping they added the 2-humped camels though, genuinely, just because I think that'd be better. Also, only 19% of the people who watch these videos are actually subscribed. I have traveled across the multiverse to find the 100%, alright, and it's not gonna happen. So the least you can do is hit subscribe right now if you've been watching us for a while. Do it, it'll make me happy, and I won't send half of your body into a different dimension. In at 9, hanging signs. Hanging signs are also a feature that was highly anticipated, with hanging signs now having a crafting recipe with chains that adds just a bit more variation to which was honestly a kind of a plain block, and it's nice to see. These signs have 3 variants when placed. They're either hanging from the bottom of a block, hanging off the side of a block, or hanging off the bottom of a fence or a wall. Each has a model that fits the situation, and it really makes these feel more versatile than originally thought. However, these do also have some limitations. The hanging signs are smaller than normal, with the normal sign being able to fit the whole word subscribe, but the hanging sign only cutting off the last 2 letters, although you should also subscribe by the way. And the signs also can float if they're not attached to a block, or at least if they're supposed to be hanging off the side of a block, they can float. They may or may not need to be connected to another sign, however, in order to do that. I'm not quite sure. And the signs hanging off the side of the block are actually solid, or well, at least I should say like the bar over top of the sign itself is solid, which means that you can't use them for mob farms, since the mobs will just land on the block. But that's fine, because normal signs I think are actually cheaper anyway, since they don't use iron. In at 8, bamboo. Bamboo is a plant that's found in jungles and can be used for fuel, or for like smelting and cooking, to breed pandas, or in crafting recipes to make scaffolding or sticks. Bamboo is also the fastest growing plant in Minecraft. However, with the Minecraft 1.20 update, they seem to also be used to create these new blocks, but in a kind of like reverse plank kind of way, with 4 bamboo making 1 bamboo wood block instead of 1 log making 4 planks. But considering the speed of bamboo's growth and how easy you can make like a giant farm of it, this will make it an even better fuel source than before. But I don't know if we can really use it like normal wood for this very same reason, but you can make it into sticks, so who knows. You might not be able to use it for tools, I don't know that yet, but there still will be fences, trapdoors, doors, slabs, and stairs for the wood type, and a new mosaic bamboo block will also be added, along with the regular bamboo wood, and it will have like a horizontal and vertical bamboo design kind of thing on it, proving that it can be a great decorative block. This can also be converted into stairs and slabs, and if you combine it with like the textures in a wall, the floor, or the ceiling with like the normal bamboo block, it's gonna look really cool. Also, bamboo blocks are probably going to be the new backrooms wall block, honestly. In at 7, creative inventory. Minecraft's creative mode is well known for its inventory screen, which allows players to use nearly any block or item in the game without collecting it from the world. However, it hasn't always been the easiest feature to really work with. Just just due to the way that the blocks and items were organized. I mean, like the MISC tab might as well have just been the original creative menu, which was just one long list. However, it seems like Mojang has heard our pleas and will seemingly be updating and fixing the creative menu in 1.20. The tabs in the menu have been reworked to better reflect the items and the blocks within them. Blocks made of specific materials have also been clustered together within the lists themselves, meaning that all of the wood types are together, all of the glasses are together, and all the minerals are together, etc. Some blocks that have multiple functions are also in multiple tabs, meaning that you don't have to go to the Redstone tab to get a frickin' door. The search tab is also grouped, keeping the items within the tabs together, and the creative inventory has been substantially reworked for ease of use, and honestly, I think that this is an excellent decision, okay? Now, all we need is more survival inventory slots and we would be golden. In its 6 chat changes. There are also multiple changes to chat for servers in the latest snapshot, so I'm just gonna run through them real quick because there's not really much to it. The chat preview has been removed. Chat messages deleted by server mods are no longer hidden, but are rather replaced with text saying that this chat message has been deleted by the server. Deleted chat messages are also now displayed in the chat window for at least 3 seconds before being hidden. The chat trust status indicator has been tweaked, with the modified tag no longer displaying for server modified messages if only the style of the message has changed, like if they bolded it or something. The modified tag icon is also now a dark gray, and the not secure tag for links is now a light gray and doesn't really use an icon, which I feel like is a bad decision, but oh well. And now partially filtered chat messages are now shown as like gray hashes with hover text saying that it was filtered. Nothing seemingly major, but it's certainly something nonetheless. Plus, this list was at 9 out of 10 without this, and I think only having 9 slots would have been pointless. Halfway through in at number 5, new skins. Originally, Minecraft only had one default skin, Steve, and then they added Alex. But in Bedrock, there are multiple skin packs that allow you to pick from a whole slew of characters, even though you could always make your own anyway. Minecraft 1.20, however, is releasing new default skins as showcased in the trailer at Minecraft Live. Alex and Steve's skins will be joined by the newest default skins that aim to represent a wider range of people. 3 of those new skins are Sunny, Effie, and Noor, who debuted in the trailer for the Wild update, and the other new ones are Makina, Kai, Ari, and Zuri. They'll all be available through the Minecraft launcher and the dressing room, and 3D artist Chi Wong said during Minecraft Live, quote, "These skins are a wonderful collaboration within the company, and we care about feeling represented in Minecraft, and I think with these default skins, we did that." These new Minecraft skins will be available on Tuesday, November 9th. In it for bundles? A bundle is a storage item that can be used for managing items inside of your inventory, and allows you to combine multiple items within a single slot in the inventory. Bundles were originally revealed at Minecraft Live 2020, and hovering over them showed all of the items inside that were kind of scattered around a large area, and the incomplete bundles had an empty texture. However, while originally meant to be included in the Caves and Cliffs update, the bundles were not included in either part of the update, and then when the Wild update came around, they were once again forgotten. But they may be coming in 1.20, since when enabling the data pack that adds the 1.20 features, you can also add the bundles data pack, meaning that they're experimenting with the feature yet again and possibly to include it. And considering how at Minecraft Live, Mojang said that they were only going to announce features that were late in the development process, we may be seeing these items announced whenever we get the next snapshot, which I actually think possibly is the day that I'm recording this, so if anything is out of date here, alright, that would probably be why. Getting close to the end in number 3, custom mobs. Okay, so this is a bit of a stretch, alright, but Minecraft also announced on October 22nd the ability to create your own custom mobs with Blockbench. Blockbench is a low polygon modeling tool, and I'm pretty sure is the program now that Mojang is using to create the models for mobs and possibly blocks too. The GOAT was actually the first vanilla Minecraft model that was created in Blockbench. Blockbench puts all the tools at your disposal, and it makes the creation process of low polygon models as easy as possible, and you know, since Minecraft is cubes, it works. Using the tool, you're able to either modify the model of an existing mob or create an entirely new one from scratch, and then import behaviors from already existing mobs and put them into the game with data packs. In the showcase video, Dan TDM ended up making a banana with the most soul-sucking face I have ever seen, and he could have given it the AI of any mob. It could have been a spider, it could have been a creeper, it could have been the goddamn wither. So, I think that this tool and like the ability to do this, while not an official feature per se, is definitely going to make some amazing things possible possible, and it's gonna make for some great and hilarious content. But ultimately, in at number 2, the Sniffer. With the Sniffer winning the mob vote of 2022, we also now have the possibility of getting new plants, and not just any plants, actually ancient ones, given that the Sniffer is an ancient creature according to the video announcing it. Although apparently Jeb thinks that it's a chicken, and honestly I agree. The Sniffer is just simply an ancient mob that was thought to be extinct. They're plant lovers and can find seeds for you by sniffing the ground, meaning that there are going to be quite a few interesting farms that you can make. And given that they said, quote, and maybe even get some new plants if the community votes for the Sniffer, and the community voted for the Sniffer, it's definitely possible. By the way, I also wanted to point out the fact that when they said the line of, will the Sniffer get to roam the earth again, at the end of that video, that just means that the Sniffer would have been canon either way, and this just enabled us to bring it back from extinction, alright? That's what they get for saying again. And, by the way, this dude got over 50% of the votes, mostly because Mojang seems to be playing it safe with mob votes after, you know, the Phantom thing, and they seem to have changed the mob votes to be less game-changing, which is understandable, but part of the reason they suck nowadays. And finally, in at number 1, Chiseled bookshelves. Alright, chiseled bookshelves are quite the interesting addition to the game and something that I'm excited for. Seemingly inspired by the Bibliocraft mod, these chiseled bookshelves are empty bookshelves that actually can hold like physical books. They don't just look like they have books in them, but they actually will. And books that you've made too. Whether they be normal, book and quill, or enchanted, they can all be stored within these shelves. However, there are some unfortunate limits with this, such as the bookshelves not being enchanting table compatible. Alright, you'll still need the regular bookshelves for level 30 enchants, even if the shelves are full. The shelves can also only hold 6 books, which granted is more than it takes to make a normal shelf, so I guess the incompatibility is a good thing in this case, but you can only add the books in order from slots 1 to 6. You can't go 1, 3, 4, 2, no, you gotta go from 1 to 6, and then you can only remove them from 6 to 1. So if you have the book that you want at the first slot and the shelf is full, you need to take everything out before you can get there, alright? Different books also don't have different textures, which I thought was originally the plan. Like, the 6th book will always be purple in the shelf no matter what, which kinda sucks. I'd like to see them having different types of books have different textures. The purple one could be enchanted and so on, but yeah, that's up to Mojang, so Mojang, please listen. And at 10, bundles. A bundle is a storage item that can be used for managing items within a player's inventory, and allows for a combination of multiple items within a single inventory slot. Bundles were revealed at Minecraft Live 2020, where hovering over them showed all of the items inside, then they were kind of scattered around a large area because they weren't complete, and then incomplete bundles had an empty texture. However, while originally meant to be included in the Caves and Cliffs update, the bundles were not included in either part of that update. And then, when the Wild update came around, they were once again forgotten. But they may be coming in 1.20, since when enabling the data pack that adds the 1.20 features, you can also add an optional bundles data pack, meaning that they're experimenting with the feature once again, possibly to include it. And considering how at Minecraft Live, Mojang said that they were only going to announce features that were late in the development process, we may see these items be announced whenever we get the next snapshot, which I'm pretty sure has already happened, and I haven't had the chance to check it out yet, so if it's out of date, that would be why. Also, remember to subscribe if you haven't yet, alright? It really helps us out. And at 9, Oasis biome. Minecraft's deserts are, well, deserted. A desert pyramid, otherwise called a desert temple, is a sandstone structure that's sometimes generated within deserts. There's a hidden section that has some loot, and it's protected by a TNT trap, but being introduced in version 1.3.1, nothing has really been added to deserts since. I'm not kidding. This is the update that added the first version of villager trading, that added emeralds, the better creative menu, and adventure mode. 1.3.1 was released on August 1st, 2012, and since then, deserts haven't been touched. It's been over 10 years for these dry guys, and while yes, deserts are meant to be, well, barren deserts, this update seems to be focused on the middle child of biomes, okay? So why not add an Oasis sub-biome just for that little extra bit of life, you know? Like, I go to a desert to find a cactus, maybe a temple, the odd village, or maybe a dungeon whose sand collapsed in on itself, and then I'm gone. The only other reason that you go to a desert is to get a large quantity of sand, but that's only really if you're making a giant build on an SMP. And an Oasis sub-biome, like variations of the jungle, could be very pleasing, even if it's just considered a generated structure, okay? It would also be an interesting way to introduce a place for the illusioner to spawn naturally, since they can't yet, since you could consider it a mirage or an illusion. And at 8, Moobloom. On September 27, 2020, it was announced that a mob vote would take place during Minecraft Live of that year on October 3rd at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. The Moobloom was one of 3 mobs in that vote, but in what is possibly the most disappointing moment in Minecraft history, it was eliminated. They would have spawned in Flower Forest and interacted with bees in some way, but it is very unlikely that the buttercup flower that was supposed to be added along with it would make it into the game, just like the Moobloom, right? Well, what if I told you that with the Sniffer getting added, we might get the Moobloom too? Mojang has said in the past that they might add mobs that weren't added in previous mob votes if they fit the theme of the update. And with the Sniffer being an ancient mob that's seemingly coming back from extinction and the Sniffer's love for seeds, I think the Moobloom and the buttercup flower are actually possibly in the running for this update. Considering how the Moobloom wasn't added in favor of the goddamn glow squid, I think that the Justice for Moobloom movement needs to come back, because the glow squid is stupid, especially when we could have made cows the gods of Minecraft, able to adapt to different biomes. Yes, I'm still salty. And it's 7 custom mobs. Okay, so this is a bit of a stretch, but Minecraft also announced in Minecraft Live the ability to create your own custom mobs with Blockbench. Blockbench is a low polygon modeling tool, and I'm pretty sure is the program that's now used by Mojang to make the models for mobs and possibly blocks too. The Goat was actually one of the first vanilla mobs to be created with Blockbench. Blockbench puts all the tools at your own disposal to make the creation process of low poly models as easy as possible. Using this tool, you're able to either modify the model of an existing mob or create an entirely new one from scratch, and then import behaviors from already existing mobs and then put them into the game with data packs. In the showcase video, DanTDM ended up making a banana with the most soul-sucking face I have ever seen, and not in the good way. And then he could have given it the AI of literally any mob. I'm pretty sure he gave it the AI of a sheep, but it could have been a creeper, it could have been a spider, it could have been the freaking wither, okay? So I think that this tool and the ability to do this, while not an official feature per se, is definitely going to be really cool, and I feel like it should be expanded upon and maybe making custom AIs. I don't know, it's gonna make some great content, it's gonna be funny. And at 6, Jungle Village. Villages are a fairly common thing in Minecraft. However, while you may find villages around in most biomes, you will never find a village in a swamp or a jungle biome, even though there are textures specifically for jungle and swamp biome villagers. Villages can't generate in these biomes naturally unless they spawn in a biome next to one of them, like if they spawn in a plains next to a jungle. But given the addition of bamboo as a functional wood in the coming update, being able to have jungle villages could actually be possible. Each village uses the wood type found in their area. Snowy villages use spruce wood, plains uses oak, savanna uses acacia, desert villages don't use any. You get the idea. So, with bamboo being a proper block now, there is actually a type of wood that jungle villages can use that isn't so goddamn fugly that like normal jungle planks, okay? Jungle wood literally looks rotten. That could explain why there's no villages in jungles. It would probably spawn in the sparse jungle biome or something similar, you know, one that isn't as packed with trees, but I'd also enjoy the possibility of maybe a village of tree houses, and that'd be cool. I think that'd be fun. They won't do it though. Halfway through into number 5, Fletching Table. The Fletching Table was introduced in the 1.14 Village and Pillage update, however it has never had a functionality beyond turning villagers into Fletchers. But could we possibly see the Fletching Table get an actual use in 1.20? God damn it, I hope so. The Fletching Table could be used to make more arrows than normal. Normally you make 4 arrows with each recipe, so maybe with this you could make 6 if you have a Fletching Table. I don't know, it gives it an added bonus, but doesn't also really make things overpowered, especially considering how you can make a skeleton farm and get infinite arrows. Or maybe you can get different kinds of arrows if you're using a Fletching Table, okay? Maybe like wooden, iron, or gold arrows could be a thing, which could be cool. I don't know, just something that actually makes the Fletching Table useful instead of just a block for villagers. Please. And at 4, combat tests. Now, Minecraft Bedrock Edition never actually got a proper combat update. They got all the 1.9 stuff, like elytra, shields, tipped arrows, but they didn't actually get the mechanics that changed combat. You can still spam click and you'll end up doing the same amount of damage every hit, like how combat worked prior to 1.9 in Java. But what I would personally like to see is some of the combat test mechanics in the combat snapshots. Axe enchantments specific to combat is one thing in particular that I saw that I think is a great idea. The cleaving enchantment would be really cool. Weapon reach could also certainly be interesting, although I don't really know how that would work since technically, given the pixel measurements, all the weapons are the same length. A shield indicator icon that lets you know when your shield is working. Arm fatigue with arrows would be an interesting feature. It would ruin snipers a little bit, but I feel like that's a good thing. And an increased attack speed would also be nice for axes, but it would also result in them getting kind of nerfed. They'd only do half a heart more damage than swords, which basically makes them useless unless you're fighting against a shield user. But I'd also like 1 durability loss instead of 2, because that's been annoying. But a couple of these features would be cool at least, okay? As long as it's not crouch to block, because I hate that with my entire being. Getting close to the end into number 3, Vultures. Now, this isn't a confirmed feature, but in the Minecraft biome vote of 2019, we saw a new savanna concept that showcased multiple things like tumbleweeds, new cacti, and a vulture mob. That, in a way, it's kind of like the evil twin to the allay, mechanic-wise at least, since the vulture would take items like the allay does, but they wouldn't give it back. Vultures, since they are also a desert-themed mob, could result in the animal being added in 1.20, like I said with the moo bloom. I think it would be awesome, and definitely would fit the desert theme, not to mention that they could also use this as a way to possibly locate structures. With a couple of tweaks, the vulture could change from a mob that takes items to a mob that circles above structures in desert biomes, like the desert temple for instance, since there is rotten flesh commonly in those chests and vultures are scavengers. I don't know, it would be a cool and new way to liven up deserts, plus it's a burb, okay? I like burbs. I'd also like to be able to befriend them and have a pet one, since you can have a pet vulture, and we can't really tame bats, and parrots are a whole other problem, alright? Fun. Penultimately, into number 2, new weapons. Last time Minecraft got new weapons was 1.16. However, those weren't really technically new, since you had to add the ingots into pre-made diamond weapons. But a new type of weapon would be really interesting, with a possible focus being on ancient Minecraft items, since the Sniffer is an ancient mob. And along with possibly ancient plants, this could be cool. Some ancient weapons could be awesome, and it would be like a really fun addition, okay? Because recently, YouTube has been really interested with the lore of Minecraft, and with what Matt Pat calls the ancient builders, the civilization of basically Steves that had to have built all the structures we see in the world. So possibly these ancestors could have left some weapons that got buried and lost over time. They could be made of the same material that the end portal is made of, the stuff that frames the eye, like the green stuff, not the actual end stone, because an end stone sword would be kind of lame in the grand scheme of things if we're being honest. But some cool under-themed tools that would be extremely rare would be absolutely insane and really something to get fans talking, especially after how the last few updates were received. You kind of need something good here. And finally, in at number 1, Archeology. Archeology was an intended feature in the 1.17 Caves and Cliffs update that was going to allow players to find items with a copper or a weathered coppered brush by using it on sand, gravel, and dirt, possibly other blocks found in a new structure, the Archeology site. Probably only blocks naturally generated in these structures would be brushable, so you couldn't just go through a whole desert with one, but possible items found within these blocks would be diamond blocks, emerald blocks, and ceramic shards of any color. The feature was not released along with any of the 1.17, 1.18, or 1.19 features, despite being one of the most interesting ideas that was announced for the update. And with this theme seemingly being the desert and the jungle, Archeology seems like a very possible addition, and honestly, I hope it gets added in. I was disappointed to see it be left out of Caves and Cliffs, and then the Wild update, so the ability to brush away some sand blocks within a desert structure, and then find a diamond block, or maybe even the ancient weapons, would be awesome. I want that so bad. In a 10 dimensions update. The last time a new dimension was added to Minecraft was the 1.0.0 update that introduced the Ender Dragon in the final boss fight. Other than that, we've had no new dimension in the base game. I mean, sure, we've had mods like the Twilight Forest and the Aether, which are seemingly included in every mod pack ever, or at least the Twilight Forest is, but they're included in all those mod packs because exploring new dimensions is part of the excitement of a sandbox game. Mods like Mistcraft let you create your own dimensions using specific features, and that was insanely cool. And while we don't need something that's that extreme, another dimension would still be incredible, and something that would surely be talked about when we haven't gotten one in 10 years, and Mojang needs to do something big to be able to top adding the most powerful mob. Maybe they just add the Skulk dimension. And at 9, inventory management. Leaving chests aside, Minecraft doesn't really offer any reliable ways to store, manage, or carry your items. And considering how the game has more, like, actual things that you can hold than seemingly any other sandbox game, you definitely need a way to sort through the tons and tons of crap you will get while trying to find 1 diamond. It's possible that the Minecraft 1.2 update will actually bring a bundle-like item that will allow you to store a group of items within your existing inventory. And I mean, like, yeah, we have shulker boxes, but that just helps you move large quantities from one location to another, and it's not really meant for inventory management. Minecraft could also introduce a mechanic that allows the player to expand their default inventory. Maybe a leather backpack could be a reliable way to introduce this feature, and many other games offer similar solutions. The bundles that were teased still have yet to be implemented, and even when they are, they're going to be fairly limited. Whereas something like just being able to open a shulker box in your inventory would be a huge help, so that, you know, we don't have to place one down every time we need to just grab one item. It would be especially useful like underwater when you don't really have any blocks around to place the shulker on. Yeah, that'd be easy. In at 8, the forest update. Minecraft's forests were introduced in the very first version of the game, and they haven't really changed since. There have been updates to literal hell before an update for the forests. Even swamps got an upgrade before forests, the most fundamental of all Minecraft biomes. And while we did get bees, that's it. That's the only thing really that's been added to the forests. But I and plenty of others think that they can do more. One question that I've been wanting answered is what happened to the original villages. You know, the ones from before Minecraft's 1.14 Village and Pillage update. I mean, there was like the perfect opportunity to turn these into ruined villages that we end up seeing in the game, and then give us a story that explains how the old villages got overrun, and then they had to go make a new village or have one made for them with better defenses or just better architecture in general so that they would be more protected, but the zombie villages now are the same as the current ones. The way to really remedy this in my mind is to just put those old villages in forests as maybe even a smaller version and call them overgrown villages where nature has kind of taken them back. There are no structures that generate in forests, and after the first night, forests just become a biome you travel through to get to cooler things. Something small like this could kind of bring these forests back to life, no pun intended. They could even include different variants like they did with jungles. You can have like an enchanted forest, a dark forest, or a dead forest. You know, you get that idea. Dark could be where mobs can spawn no matter the light level. Enchanted forest could give you like a regeneration or some small ability or buff, and dead forests can just be like no leaves and like low saturation grass, you know? Or maybe that's too close to Herobrine. And it's 7, proper combat. Right now, combat on Minecraft Bedrock Edition and Java is drastically different. The most common example of this is that how Bedrock seemingly didn't get a combat update. Like, they got 1.9 and end cities and Elytra, but you can still spam attack. You can keep clicking, okay? But in Java, you have to wait after each attack, and then if you time it right, you get slightly more damage. Sweeping attacks are also exclusive to Java Edition because of this, and so are combat-friendly axes. Well, friendly is a loose term, and so are more damaging axes, I guess. Because of these differences, though, it becomes almost impossible for players to actually enjoy both editions of the game without learning separate combat mechanics. And trust me, I know this for a fact. Having to figure out Bedrock Edition just made me sure that I prefer Java, and hopefully the next update can put an end to that, because having to crouch to use a shield is ridiculous, okay? I know it's because it's supposed to be controller friendly, okay, but if I'm using a mouse, let me right click, okay, or let me keybind the thing, let me change the key binding, okay, because limiting me for using a PC is stupid. But you can get other editions if you have Bedrock or Game Pass now, so please, just get Java, okay, and then join my server. It's a long story, but it has proximity chat. And at 6, jungle update. While jungles did get a bit of a sprucing up, no pun intended, with the bamboo forests, these guys could still do with a bit more love, and plenty of Minecrafters agree, since I've been seeing jungle update ideas all over my Instagram feed recently, for some reason. Before 1.18, okay, you had jungles, jungle hills, modified jungle edge, and bamboo jungle hills. That was it. But then after 1.18, you also have sparse jungle. And that's it. Jungle temples can only spawn in the normal jungle biomes on Bedrock and also in the bamboo jungles on Java Edition, but other than that, what really do these have aside, like, what purpose do these serve other than, like, giving you cocoa beans and then maybe a parrot? Okay? Other than that, we tend to try to avoid these things because they're just so difficult to navigate. There's a reason that nobody in Hermitcraft Season 7 built their mega base in the jungle despite multiple people having their starter base there, okay? It's just not practical. So, how about we get a little something more for these guys while also adding something else? Because a whole jungle update at this point might be a little much for the jungle when there's like a much better option on the table for what you could do with an update. Halfway through into number 5, unused mobs. Mojang has a history of creating conceptual mobs and then never implementing them into the game. For example, the Moo Bloom, hashtag rest in peace, or the Siren Head looking thing, okay? But you know what? What's truly tragic is the mobs that existed in the game but then don't have any purpose or spawn mechanic, or ones that just for some reason got removed. These unused mobs include the Giant, the Zombie Horse, the Elder Guardian Ghost, Illusioner, Killer Bunny, Jungle Villagers, and Swamp Villagers. Realistically, Minecraft 1.2 couldn't add all of these mobs into the game, but I mean, like, we still hope that at least some of these mobs can get at least a little bit of justice before something else. I mean, I don't know. But let's also remember the Fireflies, which were supposed to come in 1.19, but then didn't make the cut for some reason. And if you're curious, Swamp Villagers are actually unable to spawn naturally since a village can't really spawn in a swamp biome, but they can be bred from what I understand, at least, and so can Jungle Villagers. And the Elder Guardian Ghost is exclusive to Bedrock Edition. It has the same model and texture as an Elder Guardian, but it uses the player hurt sound when hit, and it has less health, and it's missing the back tail model for some reason. And then when spawned outside of water, it floats upwards until it despawns. It will also pass through blocks for some reason, but in my head it's probably just the mob that they used to get the graphic for when the Elder Guardian gives you mining fatigue. You know, the Elder Guardian when it like comes past your screen, that's probably what it was used for, and then they just didn't fully remove it. Maybe because they have to keep it in. In it for the desert update. Minecraft's deserts are, well, deserted, okay? A desert pyramid, otherwise called the desert temple, is a sandstone structure that sometimes generates in deserts where, you know, you can find hidden chests containing loot, but it's also protected by a TNT trap. Being introduced in version 1.3.1, nothing has really been added to deserts since. This is the update that added the first version of villager trading. It also added emeralds, a better creative menu, and adventure mode. Yeah, 1.3.1 was released on August 1st, 2012, and since then, deserts haven't really been touched. It's been almost 10 years to the day for these dry guys. And while yes, deserts are meant to be, well, barren deserts, the least we could do was show them a little bit more love. Okay, we have fossils that can randomly generate underground in piles of gravel, so why not have them be a little bit more common in deserts, or maybe slightly exposed in deserts, you know? Why not add an Oasis sub-biome for just that little bit of extra life? I go to a desert to find a cactus, maybe a temple, and then maybe the odd village or a dungeon who was close enough to the surface that the sand collapsed in on itself. And then I'm gone. Like, I don't stay there. The only other reason to go is a large quantity of sand, but if you're not making a giant build on an SMP, why would you do that? Okay, other than that, we don't really care for deserts, so show them some love, okay? You gave jungles a bit of an update. Help out my deserted boys, you know? Help him get his sands wet, you know what I mean? Okay, it's been a while for him. 10 years. Getting close to the end, into number 3, Emerald Tools. Emeralds, because of all the trading mechanics with the villagers, actually work as Minecraft's unofficial currency, but unfortunately, that's the only purpose they serve other than beacons. Even though emeralds spawn kind of in the same manner as other ores in Minecraft, well, at least in the sense that they're mineable ores, you can't really use them in any crafting recipes. This treatment of the emerald ore then kind of puts them in an undesirable situation, because I mean, why would you just dig one when you can go trade for a stack? And considering how Minecraft Dungeons actually has emerald armor, maybe we can get this, or maybe a recipe or something like that for the main game as well. If we were to get emerald tools, they would actually be probably stronger than iron, but not as strong as diamond, given that emeralds rank at an 8 on the Mohs scale and diamonds rank at a 10, Mohs standing for measurement of hardness scale, and given their spawning patterns, they would be difficult to come by until you had a villager trading hall, which after that you could basically just have a tool farm, which could slightly break the game, but given that you can also trade for diamond enchanted tools, maybe it wouldn't. And when I say that the generation for ores is weird, emerald ore attempts to generate 50 times per chunk in blobs of 1. So an ore vein for emerald is 1. From levels -16 to 320, being most common at level 256 and becoming less common towards either end of the range, going up or down. If you see a mountain that actually goes up to 256 or even past that, there's a high likelihood that there is at least a bit of an emerald there, because it also only spawns in desert biomes, or mountain biomes, not desert biomes, mountain biomes. But ultimately, in number 2, Spectator mode. We can actually confirm that a recent beta and preview for Minecraft Bedrock Edition contained early functionality for Spectator mode, which is a much wanted feature that somehow hasn't been added to Bedrock Edition as of yet. This will launch after the 1.19 update, because, you know, I mean, the 1.19 came out, I think it's come out for Bedrock, but they'll be testing it further in upcoming betas and previews, which is in essence the snapshots of Bedrock Edition for all my Java players out there. I don't know why these things are so different. I mean, like, I don't get it, especially with this, because like Spectator mode was added accidentally in 1.19 betas, but I don't know why it's not there yet. It's already on Java Edition and has been for a while, but will soon come out on Bedrock? Like, somehow it wasn't ready for the 1.19 update. And as Mojang said in a statement, quote, "The first iteration will not be finished in time for 1.19, so we will be moving it to an experimental toggle in an upcoming beta. Until we have a more polished version for you, please consider that any contents or maps built on this feature will not be supported, as this feature will change and evolve." I mean, I don't get it, okay? But it may not be ready for the 1.20 update, but there is a good chance that it will make it in. I mean, it's confirmed to come to the game eventually. How it's not in the game already, I don't know. Okay, maybe it's a conflict with consoles or Pocket Edition, but I can't see how that would happen. But anyway, screw Bedrock. And finally, hit number 1, an end update. While we did get a pseudo end update in 1.9, adding the additional end islands with an elytra along with the end cities and shulker boxes, but other than those 4 features, it didn't really do much. So a full end update would be very much appreciated, especially with some of the concepts that I've been seeing online, particularly 2 of them. First by IamPixel on Instagram, with a redesigned main island including an updated Ender Dragon, exit portal, and obsidian pillars. They also suggest a dragon designed elytra, as well as a new Ender Stray mob and a retextured Enderman. They also suggest chorus trees and ruined end ships. These are incredibly cool and actually do seem to fit pretty well with the Minecraft story that they're trying to tell. The other one though is from Animal Mace on Instagram and is what made me want to do this list. This update would add a rare crystal biome to the end that contained void crystals, kind of like amethyst geodes in the overworld. You'd be able to open shulkers in your inventory, which takes care of the inventory management issues that we complain about. They also would add craftable link portals using void crystals that would be like a quick tube system that transports items and players, which would be incredibly expensive, understandably, but also very cool, and it's something that I've been seeing requested quite a bit. Ender whales that could also fly through the sky that you can ride, and if you do ride them, they'd take you back to the main island without you needing to guide them, which honestly would be extremely beneficial, especially if you run out of rockets or had like a near destroyed elytra. You wouldn't have to take the plummet to your death, especially if you're in hardcore mode, okay? And I mean, it would take a while for the whales to fly because it's a freaking whale in the sky, but it would still be incredible. Whale lords, yeah, Yogscast fans know it. In at 10 difficulty. Minecraft does have quite a few difficulties, the most popular ones being hardcore and peaceful, because nobody else really thinks or cares to talk about the other 3. However, these difficulties could really use an update, or at least the difficulty system in general could use kind of an addition. Whether it be a separate selector or not, I think that there should be an option at least to use a better AI system. Maybe something a little more advanced for difficulty rather than just making mobs do more damage when the difficulty is higher. Maybe we can implement the stalking creepers mod to a certain extent. I remember there was like a possible feature for 1.17 that included like creepers running away from other creepers that were about to explode, or was that a mod? At this point I can't remember, but something like that would be cool as well. Maybe skeletons also taking cover instead of just backing away when we got too close, or spiders intentionally jumping off of walls to get at us instead of just climbing them by accident or to get to us, you know, because like if it's just running at me I can just hit it with a sword. I think that some AI improvements like this that could be enabled or disabled at will would add a fresh new element to the game and wouldn't really change the game that much, especially if it was optional. Maybe something for the veteran players, you know? In at 9, survival. Minecraft does definitely have a survival mode, but somehow our character doesn't ever need to drink water, or literally drink anything in order to survive. In hard difficulty, sure, we can actually starve to death, but other than that, you won't get killed by starving. And sure, I mean, Minecraft is a game of blocks, it's not supposed to be realistic, but maybe some additional survival elements could make the game more exciting. I mean, honestly, getting large quantities of water isn't really an issue anymore, especially with dripstone and cauldrons, well, because of infinite water sources, but especially with like dripstone and cauldrons, because if you add the requirement to boil the water before you can drink it, putting the cauldron over a fire or a campfire would work perfectly fine, and then you could just grab as many water bottles as you wanted. I mean, mean, like, we have them in the game already, right? Might as well let them be useful without requiring a potion in them. I'm not saying like go as hardcore as like RL Craft or Skyrim Survival Mode or Frostfall. I'm just saying maybe having another need would make things feel a little more interesting. You could add a canteen or something that holds multiple servings of water, since we can carry like a stack of steak down into a cave. And I mean, like, this is the perfect kind of game to add another need to, since we already have to worry about eating and it wouldn't really change that much. And at 8, Yummy Tummy. Yes, I named this one the Yummy Tummy update intentionally because I thought it was hilariously cringe in the best way. While having to drink water could be beneficial to add another element to survival Minecraft, there is an easier solution that would give players even more variety and other aspects of the game to explore. My sister is very fond of the Pam's Harvest Craft mod. In fact, if I want her to play any mod pack that I make, I have to include this mod, otherwise she just won't play it. And then even when I do include it, she doesn't play the pack anyway. Yeah, it's a great sister, right? Well, maybe we wouldn't need that mod if Minecraft updated their foodstuffs. Currently, there are 40 consumable items in Minecraft, not all of which are actually helpful, and they're all required for a balanced diet advancement. But, why not make that advancement an entire branch of advancements and make food in Minecraft a little more interesting? I mean, there are things that you can make, like various soups, cookies, and pumpkin pie, but that's really all the foodstuffs that you can craft, and cake. Or I guess technically cook. I mean, I guess that's the right term. Bread is literally just a loaf of bread, so why not make it possible to use that and make a sandwich? Something that would be more beneficial than just carrying around a stack of damn steaks or golden carrots. Cause like, it would need to be worth it to do that. Because once you have a steady supply of emeralds and some farming villagers, you completely remove the whole aspect of hunger from the game. At that point, you're just eating to regenerate health. So why not make it a little bit more exciting? And at 7, Herobrine. Herobrine has been a Minecraft meme and a legend for over 10 years. As long as Minecraft has been around basically, so has Herobrine. The creepypasta character has become synonymous with the game despite never actually being in the game, and that's something to admire. Sure, there have been subtle references to him in update logs saying removed Herobrine, but after something as big as adding the strongest monster to the game and then splitting what had planned to be one update into 3, Mojang needs to do something big. So why not add the most iconic fan-made video game character of literally all time to Minecraft? I mean, there are already mods for it, okay? And you don't really need to do anything big. Maybe just subtle things that eventually lead to an actual Herobrine encounter. It could be an April Fool's update, it could be real, it doesn't really matter to me. I just think that it would be cool to see something like this be added to the game, even if it's just for a day. And at 6, Equalizer. I'm sure basically all of you know that there are 2 different versions of Minecraft, and I'm sure that for some reason most of you play on the Bedrock edition for whatever reason. Be it on console, PC, mobile, or through Game Pass. I don't get why you would do it, but nevertheless it's still a thing. However, some of you may not know that there are actually distinct different features across the different versions of the game. For example, in the last part I mentioned that Bedrock never got a real combat update, but also in Bedrock Edition you can waterlog pistons, leaves, and more. Well, I mean, you can waterlog leaves in Java Edition now, but that's aside the point. You can place redstone on piston backs along with being able to push tile entities, meaning that things like chests, furnaces, and dispensers can be pushed by pistons. Things with an inventory in Bedrock can actually be moved, but not in Java. And there are features in Java not present in Bedrock. The idea with this Equalizer update though would be to bring the same features into both versions. Conflicting features would have to have one of them removed, obviously, which could be done by a voting, similar to how they would do the mob votes in the past, and it would really limit the discrepancies between versions, because if you see someone do something cool online, sometimes you just can't do it because they used a feature that you don't have access to, or it's different in your version. So yeah, bringing them together in that sense could end a lot of confusion, especially on TikTok, because there's so many stupid comments. Halfway through into number 5, Redstone. The Minecraft Redstone update was actually Minecraft version 1.5. Yeah, this version is what added realms, nether quartz, hoppers, redstone blocks, daylight sensors, trapped chests, comparators, and metal pressure plates, TNT minecarts, and actually, interestingly enough, the actual nether brick item that you get from smelting netherrack. However, while this was a major update for Redstone and was incredibly cool, it was also released in 2013, nearly 10 years ago. Just over 9 years ago, we got the Redstone update, and we haven't really gotten any updates since. Sure, we've gotten some new Redstone blocks like the Skulk Sensor and Observer, but that's just 2 things. Redstone could really do with another update, and it's a place that they could add the copper golem in as well, since I mean, while yes the allay is cool, copper golems just seem so much cooler and cuter. Okay, the allay, at least in my mind, are like the gold diggers of Minecraft. They'll follow you around if you give them an item, but after a time, if you don't give them another one, they're gonna stop following you, okay? The copper golem just wants to push buttons, and you know what, I can relate to that. Plus, we could also do with a little bit more redstone stuff, even if it's to make things simpler for those who want to get into redstone but are intimidated by it. So yeah, that could help. Well, I mean, like, don't make it simple enough to, like, for me to make a 16-bit computer in Minecraft, because, like, God knows I'm not even gonna try that, but still, like, just come on. In it for combat. The 1.9 combat update can honestly be named literally anything else and it would still make sense. Honestly, it was closer to an end update than an actual combat update. Out of the 22 new additions to the game in 1.9, only 6 of them were actually based on combat. Sure, some mechanics were changed, like the skeleton AI and sword blocking, but only 6 out of the 22 new features in the combat update were focused on combat. The majority of them were focused on the end, and with all of the combat snapshots we've been seeing on Reddit, 9 of them to be exact, we still haven't seen any of those features like axe combat enchantments being added into the game, which in my mind should have been added in the combat update, but I mean, like, they came up with it after. So why not make an actual combat update with these mechanics and maybe some additional ones thrown in there for good measure? The amount of times that I have tried to use a shield to block fall damage is embarrassing, but maybe I've seen Winter Soldier too many times. I mean, like, maybe they could throw in an enchantment for that, you know? You could just, like, land on your shield and you'd take, like, half damage, I don't know. Add the cleaving enchantment, add the weapon reach, and add the changes to the bow accuracy for if it's drawn longer than 3 seconds. Or maybe do 5, because, like, 3 seconds isn't really that bad. At this point, I feel like we deserve it after the last end update. I mean, sorry, combat update. My bad. Getting close to the end in number 3, storage. Minecraft storage could really use an update as well. Like, sure, we have a few storage containers in the game and chests have been improved since now we don't have to space them out every other block, but currently it just feels like it can still be improved. Chests especially now, considering how they're the least useful storage container in the game. Sure, they're simple to make, but barrels are actually cheaper in both versions. To make 3 chests in Minecraft, you need 24 wooden planks, regardless of the edition. In Java Edition, 3 barrels will actually cost you 3 planks less, since you turn 3 of them into 6 slabs and then it's 2 slabs per barrel. And in Bedrock, it's even cheaper than that, since instead of planks, you use sticks. So 3 barrels in Bedrock Edition is going to cost you 18 planks instead of 24 or even 21. And not only that, but barrels also hold the same amount as a single chest. They may not be able to combine, which may cause some inconvenience, but they also don't need to have a transparent block above them for them to actually work, resulting in a more efficient use of space. So yeah, Minecraft chests, or storage in general, could really use an update, even if it's just like buttons to sort chests, like the inventory tweaks mod or something, really. Because, like, honestly, chests need something to be able to get their edge back, because at this point they're useless. Unless you're crafting shulker boxes. It's true. But ultimately, in at number 2, Unity. I talked about how Minecraft's different versions are different in many ways, and an update that gave the 2 the same features would be wonderful and prevent confusion. However, why not take that a step further and make the game's cross version as well? It's difficult since I don't think that Bedrock, aka Windows Edition, runs on Java, which is why this isn't really possible currently. However, you could do something like working a way to make the realms cross version. Okay, that way it's a separate entity that doesn't mess with either version, but you can make both of their coding systems work with it. It would be a lot of work and it would be difficult, but I've seen it done with certain server plugins. And let's be honest, Minecraft Realms needs something like that to actually make them worth it. Okay, I was paying around, it was either $11 or $15 a month for my realm, and none of my friends played on it, okay? But we stopped playing on it because it got boring. We couldn't have mods, we couldn't use plugins. If I wanted to add a data pack, I needed to download the world folder, add the data pack, and then re-upload it, which would take ages. But then I outsourced to an unofficial server hosting, and the service hasn't gone down. I can use mods on it, I can use custom and pre-made mod packs, and I can add plugins and whatever I want without much hassle, okay? Plus, it was the same price. I upgraded recently for more space, but I can have more than 11 people on the server, and anyone who wants to join can join it, including fans, since the IP is in my Discord server. So if Realms could do cross-version, it would definitely be a game changer for them. Maybe I would actually play on a realm for once. Well, for once again. And finally, in at number 1, the horror update. Now, Minecraft is a lot of things. People say that it is a lot of other things as well, but one thing that I don't hear much or at all really is that the game is scary. Sure, hardcore can be scary, but that's because if you die, your world is gone forever, not because of anything in the game. The warden was scary at first, but now we can distract it with a piston on an observer loop, so why not add a little something spookier to Minecraft for all the players who have grown up with the game and maybe want a little bit more spook in their world? Okay, the last update that wanted to add something scary was the interestingly named Pretty Scary update from 2010, over 8 years ago. Nearly 10 actually, since the Pretty Scary update was Minecraft version 1.4.2 and released on October 25th, 2012. This Halloween update added much of the iconic features now, which is zombie villagers, bats, command blocks, anvils, pumpkin pies, but it also added the wither skeletons, the beacon, and the wither boss, which is exactly what made this the Pretty Scary update. But Pretty Scary was fine back in 2012. It's 2022 now, okay? Give us the really scary update or the horror update and add some stuff that will actually make the adult players happy while keeping it rated E. There are certainly some things that you could add, okay? Like the stalking creepers or scary noises from the deep dark, the damn skulk sensors. Make it scary, okay? Make me scared of ancient cities again, because one stack of ender pearls and I'm pretty solid.